driver, Carrington, gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona. The big one is out. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. Today, we're at the beautiful Watkins Glen, where we're going to send our competitors out around the world-famous configuration, the 3.36-mile track. As always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, my name is James East, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. As currently qualifying is underway here, let's check on Daniel Beauchamp and see what he's up to, the LMP2 driver. Appears to be the only LMP2 driver. Not quite sure while it's showing Beauchamp in the GT3 on live time and score on the left side of your screen, as he is representing the LMP2s here today. You've got Jacob Money, Jason Connelly, Alex Penn. They'll be in the GT1 class. Jack Forsey will be all by his lonesome in the Daytona prototypes. And then you've got Jimothy West. You've got Gareth Mcallister and Andrew Neri that will be racing in the GT3 class here today. As always, it is a 15-minute open qualifying session where drivers will set up their fastest possible setups, go back out on track, and see what they can do here. As there we go, we've got Beauchamp set up, should be in the right class now in the LMP2s. Beauchamp currently fastest on track his last time by a 1:34.16. And the GT1s, it's Jacob Money. And the Aston Martin, he's put down a 1:42 or 1:41.28, just ahead of Connelly, who clicked off a 1:41.53. As West in the 355 Ferrari looks to be our fastest current Ferrari out on track, followed by both Mcallister and Neri. A little bit of a smaller field here today. Looks like only 8 drivers out on track for qualifying. Not quite sure. This is such a fun track and car configuration to run out here in the different classes here at Legacy Sports Car Series. Free to join, a lot of fun to race, inexpensive cars, and very popular tracks. Doesn't matter if you're an oval racer, a road racer, you will find some good competition out here. And that's what we've seen in the past, is some drivers come out to Legacy Sports Car Series and use this as kind of a stepping stone, coming out to their first road series, getting the seat time in a very relaxed, fun, friendly environment, before maybe stepping up to the big leagues or getting a little bit more comfortable here at Legacy before they go out for the bigger events on iRacing, such as the 10, 12-hour, or possibly the 24-hour race coming up in 2022. Money's last time by a 1:42.96. He will be unable to improve so far on that 1:41.28. Let's check on Alex Penn, the road racing phenomenon, in the number 30 Corvette. That American muscle making its way into the chicane here at Watkins Glen. Penn probably in one of the most unique sounding cars out on the circuit here. I need to take a look at the points as well. I'm not quite sure how many rounds left we have in the season. I believe this is only round 3 or 4 so far of the season. Let's get that pulled up here. So of season 2, this is round 4. We started at Daytona, we went to Sebring, then Lime Rock, and then Watkins Glen here today. Next week we go to Indianapolis, followed by Mid-Ohio, Sonoma, Road America, VIR, Charlotte, Laguna, and then we'll have our season finale December 18th at Homestead, Miami. I believe that's the same course we had for season 1 as well. As you watch the LMP2 driver all by his lonesome, Danny Beauchamp, make his way through traffic. He's behind Alex Penn coming down the start-finish line straight here at the Glen. With about 10 minutes left in qualifying, Forsey has come down pit road. Let's check on Jimothy West in the 355 Ferrari, our current class leader for the GT3s. West and Mcallister normally about the same pace wherever they run. At the season opener at Daytona, it was Mcallister on top, able to bring home an uncontested win at the first round of the season. While West, this will be his second start so far this season. He ran one race at Daytona where he got 5th in class, and this will be his first time back since that October 2nd race. So right now in GT3, a 147.93 is the time to beat of Gareth Mcallister and his always uniquely painted Ferrari in the number 25 machine today. Mcallister, your current points leader for the class. Mcallister also a member of Rise Motorsports, your current most winningest team here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. So we have the individual championship, and we also have the individual class championships, I should say, as well as the team championships, where it's Rise Motorsports out front, AFE SimSport second, Race Hub third, Alpha Ravioli fourth in points, Penarchy tied for 4th. Then you've got Team Goon Squad and Team Kamikaze rounding out 6th and 7th here. As we're watching Mcallister see if he can get below a 148.06 is his current fastest time. Marrying the 654 BMW, another GT3 driver comes back to pit lane and maybe make some adjustments on that car. We're going to check in on Jason Connelly in the number 66 machine. Connelly's been quick all season long. Connelly, out of his 2 starts, he has no wins yet for the GT1 class. As right now, I believe it's actually Mcallister sitting on top of the overall points with 11.56 after our round at Lime Rock Grand Prix. Only about 7 minutes left in qualifying before we send these guys out for the 45-minute feature event. Right now, it's still Beauchamp, the fastest LMP2, Money, our fastest GT1, Forsey, the fastest Daytona prototype driver, and then Wes, currently on the top spot in the GT3 class. As Connelly will enjoy the wide open track around here. Let's check back in on Mcallister. He's trying to pick up a tow from West in the final corners of the track here at Watkins Glen, making their way out in the start-finish line straight. McAllister's last time by reads as a 149.63. He's got to get down to a 147.93 if he wants to start in the top spot for the GT3 drivers here today. Beauchamp out there hot lapping, getting some practice in. He's clicking off very consistent 1:34s in that Honda LMP2. And again, if you're just tuning in for the first time, this is a multi-class mini endurance is the best way to describe it. A 45-minute feature event. You've got the Honda LMP2s. You've got the GT1 drivers out on track. The GT1s will have Aston Martin DBR9s as well as the Chevrolet Corvette C6Rs. You've got the Daytona prototypes out there in the Riley Daytona prototypes. And then you've got what is quickly becoming the most popular class here, the GT3 class. You have an option of 4 GT3s, the Legacy BMW Z4 GT3, as well as the Legacy Ferrari 488. Now, all those cars you're hearing me say Legacy, such as the LMP2, the Daytona prototype, the BMW, the Ferrari, only $3 on the iRacing service if you don't already have it. So a good, inexpensive way to get your racing fix here at the Legacy Sports Car Series, as we've got about 4 minutes left in open quali. As it looks like the checker will fly for McAllister. He will be unable to improve on that 148.06 as his last time by, a 149.84. So at the top middle of your screen, that is going to be the pole setters for each class. It's Beauchamp in the LMP2, Money in the GT1, Forsey in the Daytona prototype, and then West in the GT3s. So we'll wait for these drivers to complete their cool down laps, get back into pit road before we send them out here today for that 45-minute feature event. Now, what's always exciting here in the Legacy Sports Car Series is this is normally a game of attrition for these drivers. It's not necessarily the fastest guy that wins every week, but the most consistent, who has the least amount of crashes, and who can bring home a clean car at the end of the night. As Beauchamp will bring it down pit road. Connelly still out on track. As Connelly makes his way into pit lane. And now we will wait for McAllister to come down pit road before we get the guys freshened up. They'll change back into their race trim as McAllister comes in as well. So we will go ahead and get tonight's main event started. 45 minutes here at Watkins Glen. Should be quite the evening here today. We're waiting for the drivers to get their final brief from race control, and then we'll send them out on track. As we slowly and patiently wait for iRacing to switch over the sessions. Going to be interesting seeing. I feel bad for Danny Beauchamp, the only LMP2 driver that put down a time. Jack Mundy, number 14, opted not to start or at least to qualify. We'll see if he gets out on track. But let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's grid. Starting on pole as the fastest Honda LMP2, Daniel Beauchamp in the 451. Jacob Money with GT1 pole setter will start second at number 24. Jason Connelly, another GT1 driver, in the number 66, starting third. Alex Penn racing his Corvette GT1, starting fourth in the number 30. You've got Jack Forsey, the lone Daytona prototype driver, in the 74, starting fifth. Timothy West, the pole setter for GT3 in the 355 machine, starting sixth. Gareth Mcallister, the fast Aussie, number 25, starting seventh. Andrew Nary in the 654 machine, starting eighth. And then Jack Mundy rounds out the 9-car field here today, unable to set a qualifying time. So 1 LMP2, 3 GT1s, 1 Daytona Prototype, and 3 GT3s to make up today's main event. Again, these guys are going to go 45 minutes around Watkins Glen in the boot configuration. As it is quite the pacing lap for these drivers under what we jokingly call eye-pacing conditions. They're going about 60 miles an hour around the circuit. Following our iRacing safety Porsche leading the field around here. Final chance for these drivers to take any close looks at the track. As you can see, somebody had went off earlier through the grass there into the carousel. A long time for these drivers to think about what they're going to be doing for the next 45 minutes. Again, a game of attrition. Who will be the fastest, the most consistent over the duration of the run? As we'll go up the hill and then just 2 more turns before they get going here at the Glen. As I'm excited to see what happens in the GT1 and the GT3 classes. Both classes fielding 3 drivers here today. While our 1 Daytona Prototype and our 1 Honda LMP2 will be all by their lonesome. Pace car will be in as they make their way into the final right-hander. And here we go at Watkins Glen for the Legacy Sports Car Series. The green flag flies, away they go. And they're already 3 wide on the start-finish line. As it looked like Forsey was trying to intermingle himself with the GT1 drivers. So it's Beauchamp out front, Money second, and our fastest GT1. You've got Forsey in 5th leading Daytona Prototypes, and you've got Jimothy West in 6th leading the GT3 drivers here today. As let's see what happens going into the chicane. Connelly still about 9/10 off from Jacob Money, your race leader for the GT1 drivers. Beauchamp in the 451 machine will put the power down in that high force Honda LMP2, and he will check out here. This man, oh no, Alex Penn bends it. Penn out into the wall. He will find himself parked there while the GT3 drivers make their way around. Connelly within striking distance of Jacob Money, trying to get the class lead for the GT1 drivers. They've got about a 2.6 second advantage over Jack Forsey, as their competition, Alex Penn, with a hard hit to that outside wall on the uphill right-hander, will most likely be coming back down pit road to get some repairs done on that machine and get things corrected so he can get back out there. Neri has a big moment as well in the Barbie painted BMW. As he will try and get joined and almost gets into Alex Penn as they both make their way down pit road. So that will be both Penn and Neri that come in on a lap 1 pit stop after facing heavy damage. Now these guys do have one fast repair, one get out of jail free card. But look at this up front. It is Jacob Money and Jason Connelly still running nose to tail, battling hard for the GT1 class. Neri and Penn both leave pit road very quickly, taking that fast repair to get back out on the track. Thankfully, the crash wasn't so bad. They had to take a tow back to pit road because that can cost you several minutes here on iRacing. As Money and Connelly able to get through that section that we saw Penn Bennett at just the lap prior. Beauchamp comfortably 10.9 seconds ahead of the GT1 drivers. But Money and Connelly still running nose to tail here. Let's see, is Connelly going to play it safe and maybe watch to see what Money is doing? Or is he going to try and get around the number 24 machine of Jacob Money as quickly as he possibly can? As your last time by, Connelly was about 1,500 faster than Money. And let's go right back, sorry. They're going to go side by side into the first chicane. That can't get much closer than that. Connelly takes over the GT1 class lead from Jacob Money. But Money's not going to let him go here as he stays right on the bumper of the number 66 Connelly. As now we've also got a battle happening for the GT3 class. Jimothy West currently leading Gareth Mcallister in second, only 3/10 separating these two drivers. Mcallister all over the back bumper of West here. Mcallister in the anime painted Ferrari, West in the Team Goon Squad back Ferrari, both in identical cars. Not sure if they're on the same setup or not, as this is an open setup league. Now your overall race leader, Danny Beauchamp, has brought it back into pit road in the 451 LMP2. He may be doing a start and park here today, just scoring some points. As I believe Beauchamp will be retired for the evening here. So now Connelly will move up to first overall, Money in second, Forsey third. As we are watching the battle for the GT3 leaders, we're going to go back up front to your GT1 class. It's Connelly and Money still running nose to tail here, clicking off almost identical lap times together, and I think both drivers kind of watching to see what the other does. As yes, it appears Beauchamp has retired for the evening. Neri still out on track in the GT3s to put down as many laps as he can, maybe salvage some points out of today after that early crash. As our two fastest GT1 drivers put on a show for both the class lead and the overall lead here today. such a cool track to be a part of. Watkins Glen, world famous, a ton of fun to race. As Connelly is still holding on to about a half-second gap. We're going to cycle it back to Mcallister, who's caught back up to West. Half-second separating these two drivers. It seems Mcallister has had a little bit better run coming out of the start-finish line as West pushes wide. Mcallister looking for a gap. And he will get it going into turn one, I believe. Mcallister makes the overtake on West for the first place spot in the GT1 drivers. And let's see if West will be able to answer the Aussie to try and pick back up that race lead. That draft can really help you out here at Watkins Glen, allowing you to get just a little bit more time down and catch up to your competitors. As there's two very distinct battles shaking up on track. You've got Connelly and Money, the GT1 drivers, battling for the overall lead as well as the class lead. And on screen, you're watching the battle for the GT3 amongst the top two drivers, Mcallister and West. Two Ferrari GT3s duking it out here today. Taking almost identical lines, almost identical brake marks as well. Now this last lap by Mcallister was about a half-second faster than West in the 355 machine. We'll see if West can maybe find some time on the start-finish line straight to try and reel back in Mcallister, because up front the race is still nose to tail. Connelly and Money. Oh no, Money has a big off-track moment. Able to hold on to it. But that almost cost Money dearly in the number 24 machine, as now Connelly will have about a 1.1 second advantage over the number 24 of Money. Cycle it back to GT3s. West still keeping Mcallister in striking distance, less than 4/10 separating these drivers. As West picks up the draft, now it's about 3/10, getting ready to head into the chicane. Both drivers skate through it nice and easy, no problems or worries. Ooh, West too far on the inside line. That will allow Mcallister to stretch his legs. Number 25 machine now with a 1.3 second gap over the second fastest GT3 driver. Up front, Connelly still has about a 1.3 second gap over Money. Thankfully, Money didn't sustain any damage in that off-track moment, but that could have been very, very exciting, I should say. And that's what we talked about early on the broadcast. It is a race of consistency for these guys. Not necessarily who can go out and hot lap the quickest, but who can stay truest to that average lap time and keep the tires underneath them throughout the duration of a run. Money finding some more time, whittling away at that gap that Connelly currently has. Now it's about an 8/10 gap between your overall race leader and GT1 class leader, Jason Connelly, from Jacob Money, as Mcallister has a big moment as well. Pushed extremely wide into turn one, using all of the runoff and then some. As we're going to pan back to Connelly, he can see Money behind him catching up. Connelly still looking for that first win of the season. while Money will be looking for his second here today. West back within 0.8 of the GT3 class leader, Gareth Mcallister. As it looks like the sun is starting to slowly set here at Watkins Glen. Now behind these battle of the GT3 class leaders, you've got Alex Penn, who had that early incident. He's only about 8 seconds back from this battle as well, so should be catching the class leaders of GT3 relatively quickly, as those GT3s are on average anywhere between 5 to 8 seconds a lap faster. And no! West sends it spinning around, and thankfully he holds on to it. But that will allow Mcallister to stretch his gap to 5 seconds. He can breathe easy, knowing he no longer has any competition right behind him here. Connelly and Money can't get away from each other, still running nose to tail. They're going to pick up Andrew Neri in the 654 GT3, the BMW driver, here relatively shortly, I would say. As Connelly and Money are stretching the limits of these GT1 cars, trying to find every inch of track they can push out to and put down some faster times, trying to find a 10th here or there to put a little bit of distance between themselves, or in the case of Money, an opportunity to get around Connelly once more. Alex Penn in the Corvette GT1 has made his way around West, cutting through traffic once more after having that early off-track incident. He will unfortunately be about a minute back from your race leaders, Connelly and Money. As we're going to go back to Connelly and Money, they're still nose to tail. I believe this may be a race of consistency. Who's going to have the least amount of mistakes over this 45-minute race? They've got about 30 minutes left to go here today. As Connelly and Money lap after lap after lap have been within about 0.3 of each other on average, not losing much pace or finding any distance between each other. Connelly's last time by was a 141.57, Money with a 141.15. Now it is a one-stop race for all these drivers to take fuel. So let's see if they can make it all the way through here today. As we check in on Jack Forsey, the number 74 machine, the lone Daytona prototype driver here today. He is still third overall and putting down good laps. Now it's always interesting for me to see how the time difference is amongst the different class. Forsey in the Daytona prototype is running about on par with what the GT1 drivers are doing. His last lap was a 143.68. Alex Penn in the Corvette was a 144.42. So not a whole lot separating these drivers, despite the obvious class difference. We're going to go back up front to Jacob Money and see what he's able to do chasing down Jason Connelly as we go on board in the Aston Martin on the number 24 machine, Money. Doing everything in his power to put down some times here to get Connelly back within striking distance, as they still remain about a half second apart and a little bit tighter as they come out in the straightaway. But it looks like Connelly had just ever such slightly better drive out of the corner, allowing him to gain a couple of tenths on money there. With how equal these drivers are in ability, it's going to be tough to make any big passes here. Especially as neither one of these drivers is going to want to risk their car early on into a race. As still these drivers within 3/10 of each other. As we go on board right in time with Jacob Money through the chicane. These two GT1 drivers absolutely hucking it in there and still running nose to tail through the carousel. As I am astounded at how close these guys are running together. 11 laps in, almost 18 minutes together. And it has been very rare to see these two drivers separated by more than a second here at Watkins Glen. Now going to be very interesting as well to see when these two drivers come down pit road. Alex Penn has an off track in the Corvette, able to collect himself. That could have been picked up from the timing sensors at the chicane. If you're a little bit too aggressive on the curbing, it can sometimes warn the officials that maybe a driver is off track and taking what we like to call an alternative line. As we're going to watch Connelly and Money go through the chicane once more. This is a sight to behold. These two drivers absolutely sending it in there. I mean, you can't make it much more beautiful than that as they run the nose to tail, and Money gets into the back of Connelly. Money accidentally giving a shove to the number 66 machine. Got to be careful. These engines are not made for bumping and grinding such as a stock car. So as it stands, it's Beauchamp leading the LMP2s. Connelly currently the leader overall as well for the GT1s. Forsey leading the Daytona Prototype class, and McAllister leading the GT3s. This has been probably one of the best races we've had all season in the GT1 class. We're once again looking at a GT1 driver to win the overall, as Beauchamp has retired and sent his Honda LMP2 back to the hauler for the engineers to inspect. As Mundy never made it out on track, the number 14 machine of Jack Mundy in his LMP2. Meanwhile, the two GT1 drivers still staying glued nose to tail here. Definitely the most exciting race we've got going on at the moment, as the battle between McAllister and West has fizzled out. I believe McAllister is about 8 seconds ahead of West. But look how fast Money is through that chicane, as he's gained about 4 or 5 tenths there on Jason Connelly going into the carousel. As we are about at the halfway mark of today's event. Going to be intriguing to see when drivers opt to come in for their one fuel stop. They're going to try and stretch that fuel tank out to empty, or they're going to come right in at the halfway mark. Now, historically, these guys will not take tires. They will double stint tires, just take enough fuel to get to the end of the race and get right back out there. That's still only a half-second advantage that Connelly has over Money. That last time by, Connelly with a 140.93. That's his fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile, Money with a 140.99. Excuse me, a 141.11. So Money's fastest time was a 140.99 as Connelly just sets the record for GT1s on that lap. He's 14 laps in, but I'm not sure if that's Connelly getting a little bit more used to the track here today. Maybe the car getting a little bit lighter, a little bit faster, and maybe easier to flick around as the fuel wear comes to a drop. As now Connelly and Money will come by Jimothy West, who will go a lap down here at Watkins Glen. As West goes off track right in front of your race leaders. Thankfully he didn't pinball back into Connelly or Money, or that could have been all sorts of exciting and possibly ruin a couple of great drivers' chances of a win here. As we are past the halfway mark, the fuel window officially open for these drivers. Andrew Neri comes down pit road on his 12th lap of the day, where he will pick up some more fuel in that BMW, the bright pink BMW. As Connelly, your race leader will come down pit road. Jacob Money opts to stay out here. Now after this stop, these guys should be able to run all the way out. Jimothy West and the GT3s also coming down pit road. Let's check on Gareth Mcallister leading the GT3 class here today. Mcallister will have over a 30-second advantage. I mean, he had about a 10 to 15-second advantage over West before West initiated his green flag pit stop. His one fuel stop of the day. So right now, this is Mcallister's race to really lose. Forcing the Daytona Prototype has his head down, just clicking off laps very consistently. He was only about 1,500ths off of his fastest lap of the race that last time by. So the last time by, he clicked off a 143.55. His fastest of the race was a 143.4. And let's see when Jacob Money and the number 24 machine will come down pit road. Alex Penn comes down the road as well. West was in pit road for a long time. He's been installed for about 47 seconds. It makes his way out after 48 seconds, so he may have taken tires, which is something we don't normally see here at Legacy Sports Car Series. Normally these stops are very quick in and out, just enough fuel to get to the end. As Money is catching up to Forsey now. But no, Money will come down to pit road 25 minutes into tonight's main event. Ooh, Mcallister with another bobble through turn one. That gets all sort of exciting. As you're watching Mcallister flick it through the chicane, Forsey also comes down pit road in his Daytona Prototype. Let's go back to Jason Connelly and see where he's going to be at, as Money is going to still be in pit road. He makes his way out after 9 seconds in his stall. So even after a green flag pit stop on 2 different laps, Connelly and Money come back out on track together, less than a second apart once more. Two drivers that have been almost equally matched here today. putting on a spectacular show. Forsey makes his way out of pit lane after a total of 44.4 seconds from the time he crossed the first set of cones to the time he passed the pit exit cones. And that seems to be about the average amongst all the classes, anywhere between 44 to 52 seconds. Except for West, who took an abnormally pit stop almost twice as long, maybe taking tires, maybe getting some repairs done on that machine. Mcallister comes down pit road, but we've got problems with Alex Penn. He is sending it into the kitty litter. I believe that's coming out of turn 6 right before the start-finish line. So I believe he'll take a right here into 7, and yes. Does Penn stay out, or does he come back down pit road? He will come down pit road. And then Mcallister will get back out on track, your current class leader for the GT3s. And he should still have a very comfortable gap over second place West in the 355. As you are watching the race overall leaders as well as class leaders for GT1, Connelly and Money have been duking it out all night here. Spectacular racing, especially for a longer format 45-minute feature event. And even after a green flag pit cycle where they're on two different strategies, with Connelly coming in on lap 14, Money coming in on lap 15, they come back out on track together. Less than a second, and less than a second it remains, as it is now about 8/10 between Money and Connelly. So overall, it is Connelly, Money, Forsey running 1, 2, 3, two GT1 drivers and one Daytona prototype, as it appears Alex Penn may have retired for the evening in his number 30 Corvette GT1. As now it is down to about 7/10 of a second between Money and Connelly. It seems to me from an outsider looking in, Connelly's just getting such good drive off the corners, while Money is maybe driving it a little bit deeper to make stuff happen. Now we're going to take a quick look over at Forsey and see what might be going on. Forsey currently running third on track, first in Daytona prototypes. His last time by a 143.73, so he's out there kind of, again, he's all by himself here today, but just hitting his marks, not having too many worries. And he has been of the utmost consistency so far this season. Only 15 minutes left in today's race. You've still got Connelly leading the GT1s, Forsey in the Daytona prototypes, Mcallister leading the GT3s, and Beauchamp, who shows as your leader for LMP2, who retired 14 laps ago. As it looks like the three drivers that are off track for the evening are going to be Alex Penn, Andrew Neri, and Daniel Beauchamp that have retired for the evening. And let's take a quick look over at the class leader of the GT3s, Gareth Mcallister, running strong in the number 25 Ferrari. He's about 54 seconds ahead of his competition, Jimothy West, at this point in the race. So not looking like Mcallister is going to have to worry too much here. As he took his pit stop on lap 15, he will be good to go for the remainder of the race. And then back to the battle for the overall lead. It's Jason Connelly, Jacob Money still within 0.6 of a second between the two GT1 drivers. We are almost 32 minutes into today's feature event, about 13 minutes left for these drivers. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Money will have anything for Connelly at this point in the race as they go diving down the straightaway, getting ready to set up for the chicane. We're going to focus the camera on Jacob Money, as this has been where all the excitement has been all night long, diving into this section of the racetrack. And look how much time Money makes over Connelly here. getting right on his tail. Now he's on the bumper of Connelly. We saw the same move happen a few laps ago, and look at Money diving up the inside of Connelly. He will take over the lead here as Connelly goes back to answer side by side into the right-hander. Money will have the line. Connelly will have to hold on to it. Looks like Money had a back-end step out here, able to hold on. But the battle for the lead just keeps on giving here at Watkins Glen. These two drivers have been separated at most by, I believe, 2 seconds over the course of the race. And even after that pit stop, they came back out on track within 1 second of each other. Absolutely great racing from both of these competitors here today. Now we're going to see if Jason Connelly can try and make a move on Money. Still within about 7/10 of each other, going down the start-finish line straight. Money with a 141.4, Connelly with a 142.69. As let's look at the track speeds going down this fast sweeping section here at Watkins Glen. They'll be hitting the speeds of excess of 160 miles an hour before they start slowing it down and get ready to wick it into the chicane. Hitting a top speed of about 170 miles an hour here. The GT1's absolutely flying. Connelly still holding on to it about 7/10 back from the overall and GT1 leader of Jacob Money. Less than 12 minutes remaining for these drivers, still battling hard for that overall win as well as the class win. Connelly trying to get the first win of the season here. As it stands, only 3 drivers on the lead lap. Jacob Money, your overall race leader, and GT1 driver Jason Connelly, also on the lead lap, running 2nd overall. And then Jack Forsey in the Daytona Prototype, 3rd overall here today in the Daytona Prototype. He's your current class leader as well. And Gareth Mcallister shows with a big bobble. The leader of the GT3s has it pointed in the wrong direction. Here comes Forsey, going to make his way around the wounded number 25. Ferrari GT3. Doesn't look like too bad of damage on the Ferrari as Forsey dips a left side wheel off into the grass. Let's see if Mcallister will be able to hold on to it, because he has Jimothy West about 52 seconds behind the class leader, and it appears that Ferrari is driving very, very slow here today. Will we see Mcallister dive back into pit lane to try and get some repairs? It looks like he is not. He will opt to stay out in the Ferrari. Up front, still about 5 to 6/10 separating Jacob Money from Jason Connelly. But all eyes are on Mcallister with that big moment. He lost about 10 seconds that last lap. He clicked off a 2-minute flat lap time, while West clicked off a 1:48.51. So 12-second difference that last time by. Hopefully Mcallister can get it gathered up, point it back in the right direction, and secure yet another win here for the Legacy Sports Cars Series. As again, Mcallister is your overall points leader as well as GT3 points leader with Rise Motorsports. Taking it back up front, Jacob Money, Jason Connelly still glued together as they cross the start-finish line. Absolutely amazing. I mean, we've got 9 minutes left in the race, and these guys have been together for the duration of the event. That is grade A racing between our GT1 drivers. Unfortunately, Alex Penn, the other GT1 class driver here today, had that early incident, and he had to retire in his Corvette. As Money and Connelly both looking for the fastest way into the bus stop. or the chicane, I should say. And Mcallister has yet another off-track moment, number 25 machine. Mcallister having quite the rough go of it here today. As let's see what his lap time is this time by. Still able to click off, I believe, a 1:49.92, so he's back on the pace now. As we're going to pan it back up to Money and Connelly, have been putting on a show all day long in those Aston Martins. They've consistently been in that 1 minute 41 second lap time range. Neither driver slowing down a whole lot here. I'm not sure if Money's maybe trying to break the draft of Connelly or trying a defensive line at this stage in the race, as that timer in the top left of your screen is going to be rapidly coming down. And yes, Money and Connelly both trying to break the draft, or Money trying to break the draft, Connelly trying to stay in it so he can get a good drive into turn one. As Money will get another lap led here at Watkins Glen. Connelly getting great drive out of turn one up the hill into the chute here at Watkins Glen. It's such an important momentum section of racetrack. If you can really get turn one down, you can get all sorts of speed on this fast straightaway into the chicane. And yeah, I mean, at no point during that last lap has Money or Connelly been more than a half second away from each other. Almost identical as far as pace goes here in the GT1 class. Hands down, putting on the best show of the day. Oh, and Connelly goes off track. Connelly has a moment in the uphill section. He may have thrown away the race here, allowing Jacob Money to get about a 9-second advantage over Jason Connelly. Connelly will have his work out in front of him now as we cycle back to Mcallister, the GT3 class leader. Again, all these drivers starting to have a bit of bobbles late in the race. Talking about that driver attrition that we touch on every week. Once you get 40 minutes into the race, you're getting a little bit tired. The tires are getting worn. And then those mistakes start to get amplified. Your race leader, Jacob Money, clicks off on 142.52. We'll wait to see what Connelly does his next time by. I'd imagine about a 149, a 151.14 out of Jason Connelly after that big bobble in the uphill. Thankfully, it did not appear that Connelly had any damage on that machine. As Mcallister, one of our favorite Aussie friends in the number 25 machine, comfortably in the lead for the GT3s. He is fourth overall with about a 44-second advantage over second in class Jimothy West. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Connelly may be finding some more time, judging from the top left we're seeing. Still shows about 8 seconds difference between Jacob Money and Jason Connelly on my broadcasting screen. Not sure why the ticker didn't update there. There it goes, about 8 seconds, so shows the gap, but Connelly still has Money in his sights. Or is that the Ferrari of West just ahead of your race leader? Yes, it is. That's West in the 355. Getting ready to be overtaken by Jason Connelly, second overall. Let's see what they do going into turn one as Connelly flashing the lights of the slower class car. West goes to the outside of turn 1 to allow the second place runner in the overall race, as well as the GT1 drivers, Jason Connelly, to get through nice and clear, not trying to slow down Connelly's attempts here at all. And Mcallister has a big bobble, the same place that Connelly did. And the Ferrari of the number 25 heavily damaged as he's going to crab walk it down the track. He's going to try and limp it to pit lane as he's still 45, 46 seconds ahead of West in the 355. But Mcallister is not looking good here. He's got heavy, heavy damage on the Ferrari. Not sure if he still has a fast repair available, as that car is pointed all sorts of the wrong direction. And I believe you can hear the race leaders coming up to Mcallister here, as I heard the distinct whine of a GT1 making their way forward. And Mcallister is going to come down pit road. No, he misses the pit entrance. Mcallister either misses the entrance or opts to stay out, and then tags the inside wall in the start-finish line straight as the race leader, Jacob Money, is going to make his way by. Mcallister goes flying through the air with quite the oddest of crashes, and Mcallister, the GT3 leader, is going to bin it on the start-finish line straight. Mcallister is forced to take a tow back to pit road. That may allow West to take over the spot here, as there was about a 45-second difference between the Mcallister and West before Mcallister's issues were exponentially increased, as he had the problem in the uphill right-hander, exact same spot as Connelly. And then something odd happened on the start-finish line. I'm not sure if he missed the pit entrance and decided to limp it around or what the move was. Money, he's ahead by 6 seconds. Connelly's found some speed here late in the race, only about a minute left. And oh no, Jacob Money, the smoke has come out of the engine of the number 24 Aston Martin. He's going to take a tow back to pit road as well. So in a night of upsets, Jason Connelly takes over the overall lead. Jack Forsey takes over second, as Money and Mcallister both have to take tows to pit road. Their days are going to be over, so now it is Connelly in the GT1s, Forsey in the Daytona prototypes, West leading the GT3s, Beauchamp still leading the single-car class of LMP2s. So as it stands, if Connelly, Forsey, and West can make these remaining laps, they will all secure a win. I believe it's going to be Connelly and West's first win of the season if they can bring it home. As next time by, I believe the white flag will fly for your overall and GT1 class leader, Jason Connelly. What a wild night here at the end where all the magic happens. Now Wes is going to move up to third overall. As Jason Connelly is looking well to bring home his first win of the season. Both a great night, an overall win just within grip, as well as a class win. And that uphill right-hander has worn out a lot of great race cars here today. As I believe the checker will fly for Jason Connelly as he makes his way around the final right-hander. And yes, Connelly will bring home his first win of the season, and the GT1s as well as an overall win here today. 50 minutes is the total race time. Jason Connelly picking up a fantastic win. Jack Forsey will get second overall. I believe Money will hold on to third overall. And then West giving the fans a wiggle in the Ferrari GT3, picking up his first ever win of the Legacy Sports Car Series as well. What a great night from all of these guys. What a wild night as well. West tries to break down with a burnout, not realizing that his traction control is enabled. As we pull up the overall results of the night, it is Jason Connelly, Jack Forsey, Jacob Money, Jimothy West, Gareth Mcallister, Andrew Neri, Alex Penn, Daniel Beauchamp, and Jack Mundy rounding out our field here today. A great race from all of our competitors in what has seemed to be one of the wildest finishes, as both Mcallister and Money just ran out of luck right here at the very end, allowing Connelly and West to pick up their first wins of the season. Forsey and Beauchamp picking up another win as well. Great racing all the way around. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting as well as the Legacy Sports Car Series, thank you all so much for tuning in and supporting the broadcast. We hope to see you all next week, and we appreciate you greatly for tuning in here today. Have a great night, everyone.